Okay, here's the Arthur training video. So here's the generator. It goes to this plug, which goes to this breaker right here. It says accessory 220 plug number 2, accessory 220 plug number 2. It goes to this breaker right here, and then it goes out to the house. This is a sub panel. A sub panel. It goes out to the house. Over there, goes through that panel and then goes into the sub panel. It's in the house. That's how it gets power. So to start this thing up, you make sure this breaker is off, like that. It should be off, so because you don't want it to start up and get running before you send the power to the house. And the rig on this, I have a battery charger here that's plugged into the wall, so when it's running, it'll actually charge the battery. So the battery should be nice and charged. The rig on this, if you have it off, make sure you check the oil. The oil is right here. You can check the level of the oil on a little knob, or a little, unplug. You can unplug it and see the level of the oil. Here's how this works though. So here's the coil of the engine. You can see I have this red on the positive side. None of this wiring does anything really for the most part other than start the solenoid to start the starter. That red wire goes from the coil to here, and here's the fuel pump that pumps the gas from the tank. Here's the fuel pump, and you got to power the fuel pump. So this is the wire from the fuel pump. This is the wire that goes to the ignition. And here's some wires right here. This 12 volt, this big fat 12 volt cable comes from the battery positive. So it goes up, and I clip that red clip onto these little wires right here. So I have to clip the fuel pump and I have to clip the ignition. And when I clip it up, you'll hear the fuel pump pump. So clearly the fuel pump is pumping. Make sure it's stable. So at that point you can start the engine. So when I'm going to start the engine, it's going to start. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to close that breaker and power the house. So here we go. Start. I'm going to have an issue here. Nice. It's been running for like the last 5 hours, so it's probably too hot. Here we go. Let me try this again. Here's the motor load down a little bit. So at that point, the house should be powered up. The only problem you're gonna, if something happens inside where they try to turn too many things on, that breaker that I turned on in the pool house there is probably going to be the breaker that's going to pop. So all the stuff in the house is probably not going to be the issue. Everything the issue you probably have would be in the pool house. If you have any questions, call me 706-399-0247.